Yeah, so now we know a lot by this witness. The defense is going to be third-party guilt, that it wasn't this defendant. Now they're going to have a heck of a road to hoe, because the bottom line is prosecutor did a great job on cross-examination. You can't tell me the race, you can't tell me the face, you can't tell me really anything about this individual. And the bottom line, guys, is that we all know that eyewitness testimony is and eyewitness identification can be some of the most faulty, subjective testimony that can lead to innocent people being convicted of things they didn't do. But you know what isn't? DNA under the fingernails of a victim. And that is where this prosecutor is going to keep coming back to. Last point, guys, did you find it really interesting? I did. That they're asking the defendant if he's going to testify before the defense has put all of its witnesses on. I found that to be really unusual from a procedural point of view. Usually that decision is done after the defense puts on its case and is the last thing that the judge asks the defendant.
Yeah, I've seen it go both ways, Bob, in some of the cases that will follow. In many instances, I've seen defendants say, I haven't made up my mind yet, or we're going to wait till the end of the case. So it gives them that option. I've seen them do that as well. But it's something duly noted. All right, stand by, Bob. I want to get folks back into court. All right, let's bring back in defense attorney, former prosecutor Bob Bianchi. And Bob, the truth of the matter is, especially in the situation of a defense, you got to kind of take your witnesses where you find them.
Man, this was some witness for the defense. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what was being accomplished there. Even at the end, when the person's there under court order, she's trying to say, I'm just here to do the right thing. No, you're not here to do the right thing. You want to be ordered by the court. The defense witness took the Fifth Amendment, or tried to take the Fifth Amendment during her testimony. She's on probation. She was under the influence. And the prosecutor, I just love this prosecutor. She is just so to the point with, and so crisp and so tight with her questions, is basically saying he never said that he killed the victim. And she's like, no, he didn't. And she wasn't even afraid of him that night. But she was so under the influence when she woke up the next day, when she wasn't under the influence, then she was afraid of him. This was a horrible witness for the defense. Guys, another practice point that I don't understand. Now, I understand why this is a bench trial now, because the judge, if he finds reasonable doubt, may say if these witnesses are convincing to him that he could find the defendant not guilty. Now, these are not convincing witnesses. This is a horrible witness for the defense. But if I were doing the direct examination of this witness, I would have been out in front on direct examination about her being under the influence, having a relationship with this guy, Diego. We don't find that out until cross-examination. So if I were the judge, and the judge here is the finder of fact, I would be very concerned that this information did not come out on direct examination.
I agree. Get that all out. The probation, all of it. Get it out, right? The bad facts, get them out on your...
I thought it was a little bit effective, though, in the sense that she was afraid of Diego, because Diego's not the one on trial.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know. So who else would you call, Bob, to the stand?
Well, you know, like I said, this is going to be a very, very difficult case. I think that the DNA evidence, the physical evidence, the blood evidence, you know, all of this is just so overwhelming. I don't know if they're going to have any other witnesses, but I can say this. The two witnesses, obviously third-party guilt was trying to be argued with the first witness. That was unsatisfying to me. And this witness, to me, has no credibility, especially because of the relationship. So if this is going to be the quality and nature of their evidence, this is going to be a very quick guilty verdict. But guys, without really knowing who else is on the defense's witness list, I can't possibly guess as to who it would be, but I can tell you that these two witnesses didn't do anything to hurt the state.
Yeah, and going back to this witness and what they talked about, the statement that she said, and this was brought out by the prosecutor, the statement that she claims he said into his phone translator and then showed her on the phone is, if you tell them, I will tell them that you did it and I will kill you too. The state tried to suggest that that's not claiming that he did it. It can be interpreted a number of ways, Bob. But let's say, look, it's hard for me to believe that she was mad enough at him to come into court and lie about this whole thing just to get back at a guy because she thinks she's sleeping with somebody else. But at the end of the day, how damning is this statement? He does say, I will kill you too. So I don't know. Does it mean that he and his brothers know something? He knows something. He did it. What do you take from it?
First, you have to believe that a person who's on probation, that had to be court-ordered to be there, who took the Fifth Amendment or tried to during her testimony, who was under the influence of alcohol, using an app because they have communication problems, is even getting it right in the first place. And assuming you are, I thought the prosecutor did an effective job at saying he was asking what's going on. like he did not know what was happening. That was not good for the defense, because if obviously you committed a murder and there's police that are there, you know what's going on. You wouldn't be asking this. And she said she wasn't going to speculate as to why he was saying these things or acting these things, and that in the end analysis, he never said that he committed the murder. So I just look at this as an incredulous situation, an incredulous witness under the influence with a translating app, with someone who the prosecutor effectively said never indicated, in fact, that he murdered the victim. He himself was asking, why are all these police here? Why would somebody who commit the murder ask that question? They would know why the police were there.
To deflect guilt, Bob, to deflect guilt. I buy it. I buy it all. What's so odd about that?
Spoken like a true defense attorney that you are. I would imagine, as they are, you know, they're going to call more witnesses. I would imagine that they are going to, it's going to be a battle of the experts on some regard. I would imagine that they're going to call their own DNA experts or people to combat that, because that was just a lot of bad facts and a lot of evidence against this particular defendant.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I am very curious as to whether or not they are going to call a DNA expert, and what that relationship of the DNA with the possibility of false positives can be when you're talking about a relative who's a brother. So that is something that is to be looked out for. And again, may explain, if they do put that kind of witness on that can attack the DNA in the case, well, you know, maybe now they're headed somewhere that there could be some sliver of reasonable doubt. We'll wait to see it. I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah, I think you're making a good point. Let's see what the expert testimony is going to look like, if at all.
Bob, I know you've had a lot of experience with DNA testimony. In this particular case, the person who did the testing and would do the analysis couldn't do it, had to take it to a machine. From your experience, do you have any sense of, I mean, at least the way the defense is sort of outlining this, the machine is not as accurate as a human doing this testing. Do you find that to be the case in your practice?
Yeah, I mean, DNA is actually very complicated. I think that if you're going to attack DNA, a lot of times prosecutors just kind of go along with the program, but there's a lot of science that can be attacked when you're using a machine. The machine has to be operating properly. There are false negatives. I mean, they may get somebody out there that's going to talk about, a lot of times they don't use the machine correctly. They don't actually do it the right way. So if they have a witness that does that, then they're headed in the right direction.
All right, approaching the top of the hour, Bob Bianchi, thank you for being with us tonight.